What a crowd. This is the largest crowd we've ever had. Thank you to all the members of the board that made it happen to have this meeting during the holiday week. Thank you for that. And thank you for all the visitors that have showed up today. Glad to have you, and as always, we're happy when people are interested in the business of the county. This is very good. This is a called meeting today for the sole purpose of discussing a proposal that has been given to us for a lease agreement for Mountain Cove Farms. So that's all we're going to cover today. We wanted to go ahead and get out in front on this and discuss the merits and see what we can do to.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
actually two items that fall under that agenda heading. One will be a potential lease of the restaurant, and the other will be a proposal for the use of the remainder of the Mount Cove Farm.
Okay. Right. So at this point, let's talk about the proposal that we have received. What I'd like to do is for us to, board members, discuss your perspective on it, what your thoughts are, and then I've reviewed it, and I'll share with you at the end my perspective from a business standpoint, and having gone through these type of negotiations more on the other end of it than on this end of it. So we'll share that and then see what our next steps are as we move closer and closer to reaching a responsible conclusion. So I'm going to open it up to the board. Any of the board members that would like to start the conversation?
Mr. Chairman, I suggest that we do the Greg's lease first, because it won't take as long.
Okay, that'll be fine. Okay, we had a discussion about the lease of the restaurant. I think we reached an outline as a board, and where is Mr. Corneliuson? I just saw him. Hey, how are you, sir? And we have received back from Mr. Corneliuson's representative, I guess, a somewhat revised lease proposal. So, as the board, have you had an opportunity to review that? In its revised form.
Mr. Chairman, this was emailed out to everyone
I think,
about a week ago.
yes, sir, and the several people did not receive those emails. And
Anybody want a copy?
Yeah, they can have it sent to you. I think I've read it.
so what I'm going to suggest right now, and in light of the fact that I'm seeing at least two board members right now that have not had the opportunity to review it, I'm going to go ahead and suggest that we table this until the regular December meeting, and we'll discuss it after everyone has a chance to review it, make whatever adjustments need to be made, and then we'll proceed.
I think we can do it right here. I think so too.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, the only difference between this and the lease that was approved in principle at the last meeting is in the second and third year cap. Other than that, it's the same as the last one, with the single addition that he did add Greg Cornelius and DBA Mountain Cove Grill LLC. Other than that, the only substantive change is the 2 and 3-year rental rate being capped at 800 versus 800 and 1,000 as was since approved at the last meeting.
Has Mr. Cornelius read over all of this and through his screen?
Yes.
You have?
Okay, in the interest of time, we're gonna move forward, we'll come back to this. There is no rush to do this right now. Thoroughness.
Well, I think we reviewed it pretty much, you know, except these minor changes that I was talking about.
Nick,
And I think we went over all this at that stage too.
we did.
I was noticing on here that it began, the term begins on 11/1/2016, so it's 12/31.
It's coming up.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we accept this proposal, this agreement.
I'll second.
Okay, you've heard the motion duly seconded. Any further discussion?
I don't want to be out of order. Maybe Mr. Cornelius can add some things that would make me feel better. I don't know that much about him, but give us some update on his restaurant experience. Would help a whole lot. Can you do that, sir?
Sure. Presently been right up the road here, about 16 years. Greg's Restaurant. I own Chickamauga Restaurant in Chickamauga, 6 years before that in town. I've been in the restaurant business since 1988. I've had restaurants downtown, 2 or 3 in Lafayette. I generally look for one such as that, be that where it is down there that is closed, or I tend to look for restaurants that are struggling, people want out, or this, growing up in Walker County here, this opportunity kind of arose out of a fluke, if you will. I asked about it, and found out it was sitting empty, and I went down there and looked at it. And I'm excited about it. I've actually got folks, I've got chefs, I've got people lined up already, and I hope that we wouldn't delay it another month, because you're already into I've already let a month go by here that was supposed to be almost, creeping up on me here a little bit, so. I'm ready to go once we sign the lease and get started, hit the ground, and hope to be open. I'm not sure it'll be in December. I have had several phone calls. So I'm really just waiting to get this lease signed and I've been down there this morning meeting with folks that are ready to come on board. Got a lot of talk about it. It's a beautiful place down there.
What would you be serving down there? The same type of food you serve at Greg's, or
No.
would you be more specialty?
It'd be a more special, if you're familiar with Canyon Grill, I know those folks, it'd be along that line.
Okay.
It would have nothing, nothing like it.
Any further discussion?
Any more questions?
Yes, sir.
I take the floor. Will you be managing and running this yourself? Or will it be done by someone else?
No,
It'll be you.
I reviewed the revised, and I agree with the opinion of council at the end of the table there, that the only substantive changes would, once it's pointed out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call for a vote on this. All in favor of the motion, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay, on to the proposal to lease the balance of Mountain Cove Farm.
You got a written copy.
This was distributed earlier.
Yeah, I got an email.
Hey, Tom.
And I trust everyone has had the opportunity to thoroughly review this document. Okay, I would encourage a discussion now from anyone who wants to get started, to share your perspective on it.
Is there someone here from representing the code enforcement?
I'm Lee Capper.
Okay, I'll share my perspective on it if no one wants to say anything. First of all, thank you for your interest. This is, it's very encouraging to have someone show an interest in partnering in the code. Thank you very much for that. I'm going to just share somewhat randomly my thoughts about after reading this, and then we'll discuss from there and what follow-up we're going to need to move this forward down the line. Who is Cove Resorts LLC? I mean, that's my first question. Who is this? I would never be comfortable in any sense entering into any kind of agreement without understanding who the principals are and their financial capacity, a more thorough business plan, and a better understanding of exactly what, I see the outline here, and this is, the outline, that's great, but a long-term agreement like this would require a significantly more detailed business plan and a financial understanding of who we're dealing with before I personally could even have any remote chance of agreeing to do it. My second comment would be the proposal of a 5-year lease with 9 additional options. That is, I like the intent shown there for it to be a long-term project. I like that. The concern that I would have with this is, you know, that's potentially 45 years of obligation on behalf of the Development Authority / county. Because after 20 years, the Development Authority, at least in theory, will not have any interest in Mountain Cove Farms. This is a temporary interest. So in an agreement that made by the Development Authority that would obligate the county going forward makes no reasonable sense to me at all. even if it was still a legal challenge, I would have ethical problems with entering into an agreement in which we don't have any reason to enter into an agreement that extends beyond the period of time that the security is held for the bondage. In the event the restaurant becomes vacant or the current renter does not renew their lease, said structure can be added to this contract and leased at the rate last paid by the current renter. It would be my opinion, respectfully to the board, that should be kept separately. We don't know, even if we do find this agreeable, we have no idea their capacity or ability to operate a restaurant. We have no idea whatsoever. We will learn that, but we don't know that today. And we would be obligating ourselves to a first right of refusal to a restaurant operator in which we have no idea if they have any experience whatsoever in operating a restaurant. Not saying it's not workable, but in its current iteration, I couldn't support that. The $2,000 proposed, $2,000 a month proposed with an adjustment based on inflation. That seems very low to me, and the reason that it does, let's just say if the value, I figured the value of the property at, say, $6 million, some may quibble and say it's less, I don't know, some may say it's $5 million, but for the sake of my own personal calculations, I figured it to be worth roughly $6 million. $24,000 annually would represent less than 1/2 of 1% return on investment. In my personal business, not a chance in the world that I would ever enter into an agreement in which I was getting a rate of return at less than 1/2 of 1%. So certainly we're going to have to look more carefully at that lease rate. Let's just say any responsible, reasonable financial operator would expect, in the worst of times, conservatively 2% return on their investment. Any minimal investment, you're going to be looking at a minimum of 2%. That's not desirable, but if you're hunkering down for tough economic times, 2% would not be a disaster. That would represent roughly 4 to 5 times the proposed amount. So let's just say in the neighborhood of, say, $10,000 a month to get a minimal return on the county/authority's investment. The adjustment for inflation, if you've looked at that and wondered, well, it would go up with inflation, I would just share this. Anything that's tied to inflation, that's a good thing. The rate would potentially, conceivably go up based on inflation. However, if inflation occurs that raises the lease rate, at the same time, the value of the property is going to go up, and therefore the calculation for return on investment will remain unchanged, basically. Is that, I hope that makes sense, that I'm communicating the point that the property, the real estate value will go up and therefore the percent of rate of return will not improve, even if we take steps up in the lease amount when it's tied strictly to inflation. The improvements, thought that was well laid out, their ideas for what to do there. I thought that was well done. And it has been and should continue to be our discipline to review financials. You have, I'd want to see from the principals their ability to execute the plans that they laid out well here. We don't know who they are. We have no idea of their capacity to execute these ideas. Part 3 that says both parties realize and acknowledge all the structures will in the future need structural repairs such as roofs. I think that's quite ambiguous and would require clarity there. It says the parties agree to work together to develop a reasonable plan and timetable for such improvements. Certainly, I agree in the spirit of reasonable cooperation, but when you're talking about capital items like that, we would have to have quite a bit more clarity around an ambiguous statement like that. There's a lot of risk there. The liability insurance, we would have to determine that before we would enter any agreement what that would be, and even the prospects of potentially a performance bond that would mirror the lease agreement. We'll work through that as we move down the line here. Item 7 under additional uses and business ventures, 1 through 6. I personally don't have any issues with these ideas to make that a natural makes sense. Number 7 there. Again, I'm going to go back to the first part of the commentary that the county fair, I think, is at the pleasure of the commissioner. I don't see the county fair and the development authority having any place to be determining that there will be a fair there, in which this lease suggests that we would be agreeing that there would be a fair. I do not see the development authority having a place in making that determination in any way whatsoever, plus or minus. That would be the commissioner's call to make, and shouldn't be included in this. I did some just quick math on the committed capital. The ideas that were the ones that were explicitly laid out here add up to about $1,510,000. That's a pretty significant investment commitment. This reinforces my earlier comments of the need to understand the capacity of the prospective partners and their ability to do that. That's a lot of money, and probably an appropriate amount of money to make something work out there. And then some general commentary. As a member of the board, I'm just sharing a personal perspective here. I've got some, I guess, ethical concerns with entering into any long-term agreement when there is a change of administration about to happen. That is concerning to me. I I don't think that is a good thing to do. This is a personal comment. It's not right. In any situation in business, it's never done. It is a professional courtesy, and there are all kinds of ethical reasons to take that greatly into consideration before we, as a body, determine the fate of an asset in which we are simply security holders of it. We don't own it. And that, I don't feel comfortable at all with that. And my last comment is there surely are potential prospects that would come forward that we could weigh options in the future. And especially at the stated lease rates as they are today, there is nothing fiscally intriguing about that rate of return that would compel me to want to say, well, wow, we better do this while we can. I don't feel that way at all. In fact, I feel we better not do this as it is written until we have some understanding of what other options lay in front of us. So, those are my thoughts.
Mr. Chairman. Considering the losses the county has experienced in the past, that would be a 7% return.
Against losses,
You said it's 1% return. If you take into consideration the losses the county has experienced, that's a 7%.
I think what have we booked? The county has booked, what, $400,000 loss out there? Is that about right?
Yeah, it's on the very last page, Mr. Chair, of this proposal, that Don has sent out for the board to consider.
Okay, so the commissioner makes the point there that we have experienced $400,000 losses, and therefore a gain of 0.4% is better than a loss of, that's your point, right? That it's better than than to stop the losses. And, you know, that in and of itself absolutely is true. I would rather make a penny than lose a dollar. There is no question about that. However, I do not believe that a penny is all we can aspire to here.
I did have an offer of $3 million at one time to buy it. Mr. Chair, could we hear from the presenter?
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, my name is obviously Leah Capper, and I have owned a business. It's not this type of business. In 2008, me and my sister started a medical billing company. We billed for doctors. We started it mainly, number one, I didn't want to answer to the man anymore. So I decided I wanted to start something on my own. We started this company in 2008, and we took nothing from where I worked prior. Neither one took anything. We started on our own, hitting the pavement, basically begging for business. We only wanted a couple of clients so that we could just shop and do our thing, and it didn't happen that way. We grew, and in 8 years we grew. We had employees, which is exactly what I, at that point in time, didn't really want to have. I didn't want to see the 25, 50 employees. You know, it's great. Business that's how we make it. That's how small businesses start. Is somebody wanting to step out there on a limb and get going with it. We did sell that business in 2015. We sold it to a company out of Ohio. They were out of Ohio. We decided we wanted to do something completely different. We started a wedding rental company, which is called Lily Wedding Rentals. Within our findings and going to shows and going to different things, I realized quickly, rental business is good. Don't get me wrong, it is good, but venues, wedding venues, and different corporate events that you can have, is better. So I started looking to, I have some property where I live, not enough. Thought about a small venue there. Didn't really want to take that on just because it's family property and there was going to be a little bit of flack there. So we started, I listened, I heard different people talking about different venues, how they were doing, whether or not they would want to sell, whether or not they would want to lease, and that's how it came about. So I'm here to make it, I would love to make it better, beautify it, see it successful, and start mainly in the beginning the wedding venue, because that's what I know. I do a lot of research, I dig a lot, I don't take anything for granted when it's starting a business, but you do have to start somewhere, and so that's why I'm here. Hopefully this will go through, and this is going to be a family-owned company. The business that I sold prior wasn't just me and my sister and my mother. She did want to pull out after 3 years, I think, retirement, she wanted to just not be part of that business. I don't think she liked me telling her what to do, but anyway, this will be a family-owned company. I'm not going to tell you that I know everything. I don't. I do know how to operate and run a business, and I enjoy doing that. But I'm not going to tell you that I know how to work the field, because I don't, and there's a lot of field to be worked. I do know that. But I know how to hire people that do. I know how to find the people that know what they're doing. And if you know how to do that, you can operate a very successful business.
Thank you for that. Anyone have any questions? Okay.
I have a question for me, real quick. If you get this lease, do you actually have the capital to start and do everything that you are proposing to do, or is it going to take time to work up this? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do know what you're saying. There is some capital, but it's going to take some time to work up to what I want to see happen, I guess. Yes.
Would you be able to come see us with, at our next meeting and provide some updated information?
Yes, that's necessary.
We're not going to be in a position today, certainly, we're not even close to a position today to take any action, but if you can join us, it's the second Tuesday. What is the date?
13th. December 13th.
Can you come back on December 13th and
I will
give us some updated information?
check out what day is that?
That's on a Tuesday. It'll be right here at noon on Tuesday. And we certainly do absolutely thank you. It's exciting what we have here. Roger?
If I can, do we want to go ahead and ask her to bring the stuff that we've asked other people that look at doing stuff, showing us the financial ability, and maybe some kind of resume and some kind of a business plan of what you're planning to do out there?
And of course, the financial statements that we talked about. And let's see if we can move this thing forward at the next meeting with some more information. Well, we thank you very much, and thank everyone for coming today, all the visitors. It's great to have you all here. And with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.